Hi, everyone. Lisa Haven here. Well, over 8 times in Joe Biden's inauguration speech, he used the term unity. And while both you and I really desperately want unity here in the United States of America, because we all know a country divided among itself will fall, and that alone terrifies me. Well, as much as I want unity, I cannot help but notice that what Joe Biden says and what Joe Biden does are completely two different things. And I'm going to point that out in today's report. Not only that, but Nancy Pelosi has told the House to basically go home, because, well, they're not needed because Joe Biden has made it very clear that he can run the country with a flick of his pen. No joke. But before I get into all of this, I want to remind you, get on over to restrictedrepublic.com right now. We've got an amazing special, $5 per month. Use the code TRUMP on the monthly subscription plan. This is a limited time offer, but we're offering it because everybody's getting kicked off of social media sites. And this is where we are going to end up. So you want to get over there and get exclusive information because look, folks, I don't know how much time we have. So get on over to Restricted Republic, or at least switch on over to BitChute. I am there. Open an account on BitChute. Follow me on BitChute. If you don't want to do BitChute, get on Rumble, both of which I'm found under Lisa Haven. So check out and subscribe there, and also subscribe to the channel here on YouTube. All right. So with that, let's get on over to the fact that, well, the House canceled business the very first week that Biden got in town. Here we are on Washington Times. The House won't meet next week, Speaker Nancy Pelosi said on Thursday, canceling the very first full week for the chamber under Joe Biden. Miss Pelosi said committees will continue to press forward with their businesses, and she hopes to have a COVID package ready by the first week of February. And she also says, and I quote, "As we work on these issues, we won't be back in session until the beginning of February." And of course, this drew strong rebuke from Republicans, including Representative Kevin McCarthy, who said this: "I just heard the majority party is now telling us to go home one day into a new administration," he said. "When Republicans are in the majority, we will take the first week off." The House was supposed to be out of session last week, but rushed back for 2 days to approve the articles of impeachment against Trump. It was a meeting Thursday to approve a bill to allow Biden's pick for Defense Department Secretary to serve. There you have it. So don't worry, we don't need the House of Representatives, says Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden. We got this covered with our executive orders. And here is what Lauren Boebert had to say about this. And she says, the House was told to go home. Next week's schedule is canceled. Biden made it very clear that he can run the country with the flick of his pen, and Congress is no longer necessary. We don't need no stinking Congress. House, you just take a break. Dictator, tyrant Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are in town. But don't worry, we're all about unity. Unity, 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 unity. You know, they sound like a broken record. But only if what they said matched what they did, then I would be happy with that. But that's definitely not what we're seeing. Here's a couple things I'm talking about. If Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were really all about unification between Republicans and Democrats, which is really what we need. We need something because they're eliminating people from on the air, getting rid of conservatives and libertarians simply for their political viewpoint. I mean, that's tension. That's not unity, right? But I digress. I'm sidetracking here. If he was really about unity right now, then he would not be doing these things. And I've got a list of things that I want to talk about. First thing that he wouldn't be doing, he wouldn't be impeaching President Trump. Trump is no longer president of the United States. The only reason, the main reason, I guess, you would impeach him is get rid of his presidential privileges, if you will, and he won't be able to run again in 2024 or ever again for that matter. But instead of stopping the impeachment process or pushing his constituents against it, he pushes full forward and goes along with it. That's not unity. You're literally dividing a country, and Trump is no longer president. That's all you're doing. That's not unity. That's tension. 2, he is also, right, if he was truly and really all about unity, he would not allow his constituents to constantly smear, belittle, degrade, and label conservatives and libertarians and those right of center, any Republicans. Instead, he allows, right, the speech of America to be divided. He in his own speech, he said, and I quote, racism, nativism, fear, and demonization, right? He called out those things and said, that's what we're divided over. No, we're divided over the fact that those on the left, the Democrats, keep calling those on the right racist, xenophobics, bigots, white supremacists, white nationalists, every name under the sun, and it won't stop simply for their political views, say, on immigration, or their views on abortion, or their views on COVID-19, or fill in the blank. They've completely labeled and ostracized one side. And instead of calling for unification, and instead of saying, Democrats, stop falsely labeling Republicans, let's all get along here, instead of doing that, he allows it to continue. In fact, he allows his constituents to talk about rounding us up into re-education camps, about putting us on lists, and about putting and adding us to some kind of domestic terrorist threat simply because we're libertarians, conservatives, or Republicans. No joke. And so he's really exasperated that by going in hardcore to domestic terrorism, even though, by the way, there's only about 200 domestic terrorists rounded up per year on average. And I'm guessing, getting that off the top of my head from the latest, so don't quote me 100%, but that's about right. But yet somehow the radical left says that's the biggest threat in the entire world to the United States of America. I mean, really? And then here's another thing. 3, he supports the cancel culture, right? He constantly talks about how he wants to defeat lies with truth. That's what he says with one hand. But then with the other hand, he starts canceling out his opposition. He allows Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and Shopify and all these people to silence one political side. That's not unity. While at the same time, he's not silencing the other. He's not calling out Antifa. He's not calling out the radical forms of BLM. Nope. Just one side that he's added a whole bunch of labels to. Number 4, if he was really about unity, he would not have vetted our own National Guard. Never in the history of United States of America has our National Guard been vetted in such a way. But they vetted them out of 25 some odd thousand National Guard troops. They removed 12, not because the 12 were any threat to Joe Biden, but because the 12 either had ties to the NRA, maybe they were an NRA member, or they posted something that was quote unquote inappropriate. They were ostracized for their political beliefs. 5, and that's not unity. 5, he falsely accused Trump of a Muslim ban. Look, if you wanted unity, instead of saying it was a Muslim ban, it wasn't a ban against Muslims. It was a ban to keep out ISIS, radical jihadists from entering our country. And notice during Trump's administration, we didn't have any of that in the country. Just saying. If he could have used a different term instead of that, he could have said, we're lifting Trump's ban on the Middle East, or whatever the case, if you wanted to bring unity between the two sides. But that's not what he did. He called it out with a derogatory nature in order to spread more non-unity, right? Number 6, he canceled the Keystone XL pipeline. This put thousands of people out of work. And this, by the way, the Obama administration, I don't like Obama, I'm not a fan of Obama, but the Obama administration even said it was safe for the environment. Yet here Biden is putting thousands of people out of work in the midst of an already Great Depression 2.0 here in America. That's not unity. The next one here, number 7, he made immigration a top priority. You see, one thing the left and the right really don't agree on is immigration. But he throws this front and center with his executive order and says, we're going to make this a top priority. Instead of trying to come to some middle ground on there, he doesn't. He goes full force with the fact that they want to give amnesty to over 11 to 22 some odd million people, right? Because it's always going to be way more than they're saying. He goes full-fledged the other side and he says, I don't care what you think. I'm going to do this thing, and goes to the extreme side of it. That's not unity. That's not unity. See, those are just a few things. I could have a whole list of stuff, but I'm just really following on on some of the things that he's done more frequently. And here's another one. I'll add an eighth one off the top of my head here is if he really wanted unity, he wouldn't be purposefully undoing everything Trump just did, right? He would say, look, I like this one, I don't like this one, or something of that nature. But instead, it's all about Orange Man bad. All his followers bad. Instead of about actual unification. And I know you guys follow me on that one. Anyhow, I wanted to get you the latest on all of that. And as a quick reminder, and I'm a big supporter of this, please make sure you have a VPN. I use Virtual Shield at hidewithlisa.com. Like I've said before, if government or anybody comes knocking at their door, they get rid of it within 24 hours. All that information is scrapped. It's nobody's freaking business what you look at on the internet. I'm tired of Google and all these organizations stealing our crap. And by the way, if you're still on Google, you shouldn't be. Please switch your search engine to DuckDuckGo. I won't use Google anymore. But that's a side note. But that said, get on over, get a VPN today and protect your internet history. And it's fairly a really good price. And you can even try it out free for 30 days. So check it out at hidewithlisa.com. All right. I love all of you. I'm Lisa Haven signing out.